Hello, my name's Joanne Scott and welcome to this week's blog. So this week's blog I've called What is Perfect? So what is perfect? And I can hear you saying, well, what does she mean by what is perfect? Well, for many years I spent my life living in a perfect world in the eyes of others. I spent many years living up to the standards of others and living up to the standards set by others, which just wasn't great really looking back now. And it wasn't until I came out of my divorce that I actually looked in the mirror and thought, do you know what? I haven't got a clue who I am. I just hadn't got a clue. Living in that way for so many years just left me feeling miserable, low self-esteem, lack of confidence, because I just wasn't being the real me. I was living by somebody else's rules. So it wasn't a great way for me to be living. So do you think that you're perfect and that there's nobody else that can do the job better than you? Or do you find yourself, beating yourself up when your perfect day you've got planned doesn't come into fruition? Or are you the sort of person that stresses because you're 10 minutes late, and you can't be 10 minutes late because you've got to be on time because you've got to be perfect? Or do you try and, like me, look your best and behave your best for the sake of others and not for yourself? So I can tell you, for living that way for so many years, that now I'm living in my own skin and I'm being perfect in my own world. I can actually say that I don't believe in the word perfect. I don't believe there's anything that there's no such thing as perfect. We can't be perfect. We all have flaws and we have to embrace those flaws. So what is perfect to ourselves is different for each and every one of us, and the world that we live in today is far from perfect. So how on earth can we expect to be perfect when we have so much stuff thrown at us? How can we possibly be perfect in an imperfect world? So what do we need to be living in the real world and become more realistic people? Over the last 5 years since my divorce, I've really had to think about this and change all of this and finally become the real me. And it took me a long time to find the real me, two plus years really, to find out who the real me was after 20 odd years of living in somebody else's perfect world and being perfect in somebody else's eyes, for them, not for me. But what I found is that once I had found the perfect me, I knew she was here to stay, and I wasn't going to compromise this for anybody, or, well, not to that extent. I wasn't going to be anybody perfect other than perfect in my own eyes. So it meant changing everything for me, and it meant lowering the bar from trying to look 100% plus all the time, behave 100% plus all the time in somebody else's eyes, to finding something for me that was perfect for me. That was the real me, that was being authentic to me, and that meant flaws as well. We all have flaws. None of us doesn't have any flaws at all. We all have them, and it's what makes us us. But I needed to find something for me that was more achievable, more sustainable, more manageable, and that made me happy, that brought me joy and love. I needed to be perfect in my world for me and nobody else but me, and I did that. I found this person for the most important person in the world, which was me. So it's really hard, but why do we strive to be perfect all the time? Is it because we think we stand a chance of being more loved, more liked, or more appreciated by others if we're perfect in their eyes? Or do we think that, there is no other way to be other than perfect? We've just got to be perfect. There is no other way to be. Is it because we want to please our loved ones and fulfill their every wants, needs and their desires because we need to make them happy? We need to keep them content, we need to keep them ourselves, we need to keep them on board. So do we do it because of that? Or is it because we want to be more attractive in the way we look, in the way we behave, and in our mannerisms to other people? Is it because of that? We want to be attractive to other people. But the most important thing is, before you're attractive to other people, you have to be attractive to yourself. There's only one person you need to be attractive for in the first instance, and that is you, before you become attractive to anybody else. If you don't love yourself and you're not attracted to yourself and attractive for yourself, you can't be that, or you shouldn't be that for any other person. You are the first person you need to be that for. So forget that you're trying to be perfect for everybody else. If you had a day in the life of you and in your perfect world, what would your perfect world look like? So think about it. So would it be okay for you to have a pyjama day or a no makeup day at home if you weren't going anywhere? Would that be your perfect world? Or, would you allow yourself to be a bit more flexible time-wise when you are out and about, rather than thinking you've got to clock in on the dot on time all the time for everybody? Or would you not drive yourself so hard at home and in your work life? We live to such high standards, especially in the workplace, which I know we can't afford to make mistakes, but so much of our time is trying to be perfect in the eyes of others, of our employers, and it's really hard to maintain that on an ongoing basis. Or would you allow yourselves to make the odd mistake here and there without beating yourself up? We all make mistakes. It's life. It's what happens. We just can't be perfect all the time. Or could you reduce, like me, could you reduce the times you look in the mirror? If you were perfect in your own world for you, could you reduce the times you look in the mirror? Like from 10 to 20 to maybe twice a day. And could you think about dressing for yourself, actually for what you were comfortable in, rather than dressing for other people? It's like I say, being perfect to yourself has got to come first. You're the most important person. You've got to be perfect for yourself. So living in someone else's perfect world, can do more harm than good. It can leave us feeling unhappy and unfulfilled. So if you think about it, think about what would your perfect self be? And if you were your perfect self, if you were perfect for you before anybody else, it would help you set boundaries that people cannot step over, cross or abuse. For any reason, you would have your own boundaries. It will allow you to lower the bar a little and be a bit more kinder to yourself and a bit more gentle with yourself, and take the pressure off, rather than trying to please everybody all of the time and live in their perfect world. And, most of all, it would allow you to be the person that you really want to be for you, not for everybody else, the perfect person for you. It's going to boost your self-confidence, your self-esteem, and it's going to boost your self-worth. If you're perfect in your own eyes, you're going to feel good about it. So that's going to be massive. It's going to be a massive change for you. You're just going to feel so much more happier with yourself. So how much better would it be to be the actual real you? How much better would that be, to be real to you, to be authentic to yourself? And if you're not being the real you, then I'm asking you to start today and think about, what is the real you? If you're not being the real you, what is it? What is it that you want to be? And the other thing to consider is, once you've found that, is how much are you prepared to compromise that for the sake of others? How much are you prepared to give up you to please other people? It's actually okay to lower the bar. And it's actually okay not to be perfect. There's no such thing as perfect. And trust me, it's a far better way of living. Be kinder to yourself. Be happy with you in your perfect world. Thank you for watching.